From a station working for you, this is WRTV News at 5:30, streaming now.
Now at 5:30, it's the vaccine expected to help bring an end to the pandemic. We'll show you the detailed process to make sure every patient gets the right dose of medication. And getting crafty, how something we are all asked to wear these days is creating a steady stream of income for a local business. Chris?
Topping our lineup on this Friday, getting the Pfizer vaccine ready is like something out of Mission Impossible, really is. We're taking a look inside at what it takes to prepare this shot. Now, more teachers are feeling the stress of this pandemic and now thinking about calling it quits at public schools, the jobs they are considering instead. Plus, there are new concerns about a measles outbreak among kids, the numbers that researchers are watching that have them worried, and why they say it's not too late to reverse them.
First at 5:30 here, healthcare workers began getting the COVID-19 vaccine today in Johnson County. Actually getting the shot occurs in a blink of an eye, but it takes way longer to prepare the syringe for every vaccination. WRTV's Rafael Sanchez reports on the steps to make sure you get the required dosage.
Before you get the COVID-19 vaccine, a lot goes on behind the scenes to prepare this shot.
Right now I'm opening up an alcohol prep pad. So this is just alcohol to keep this top sanitary. So this is the COVID vaccine vial. So now I'm gonna get a needle and a syringe. It's already clean, so I'm just gonna put it in here. And I'm gonna pull out 0.3 mLs of the vaccine. So that's the dose that for the Pfizer vaccine. The Moderna vaccine's a little different dose. So I can get at least 6 of these 0.3 mLs out of the vial. So now I'm just gonna cap it so that I don't get stabbed. And then this will go to the patient. So this right here is good for 6 hours. So it's the same as like an insulin syringe. So other vaccinations are usually in pre-filled syringes, whereas these ones I have to do the manual labor to fill them up for all of us today. And since our clinic's 8 hours today, we have to keep doing this throughout the day because the vaccine, this goes bad in 6 hours.
The goal, to fill the seats in all 12 vaccination rooms until all 975 vaccines are given out. Working for you in Johnson County, Rafael Sanchez, WRTV.
Thank you, Rafael. And coming up on the news at 6, Rafael introduces us to some of those volunteering to administer the shots. People who know the impact of the virus all too well. Kyle.
Well, it was sure nice to see some sunshine earlier today, but as we look across central Indiana, those clouds have been rolling back into the state here, but we remain nice and dry, and we will stay that way as we go through the rest of your Friday evening. There you can see kind of the big picture here, those clouds just kind of moving through overhead, but no traces of any rain out there until you get into northwestern portions of Iowa and parts of Minnesota. Right now, our temperature 36 downtown, a little more of a chill in the air for you there in Kokomo at 31, 37 degrees in Bloomington, a little bit of a southeast breeze also giving us some wind chills out there, but at least temperatures are running about 5 degrees warmer than they were this time yesterday for us, and that's a warming trend that's going to continue to build here as we go into the upcoming weekend. But a great night to head out there and check out some of the Christmas light displays. If you're going to be doing that, we've got temperatures that are really going to be holding pretty steady here because of that blanket of cloud cover. We're still in the lower 30s right through 10 o'clock. Rain chances, they get into the forecast as early as tomorrow morning, about 30% there. We'll detail that and also the next chance for snow in that 7-day forecast. Chris?
All right, let's start the news feed. The Supreme Court is dismissing a challenge to President Trump's plan to keep immigrants living illegally in the U.S. from being counted in the census. It's moved somewhat of a short-term win for the president because he now has just a little more than a month to follow through on it before President-elect Biden takes office. Pentagon has a new plan to increase diversity in the military. The plan calls for more aggressive recruiting tactics of minorities. It also includes efforts to decrease the amount of hate group participation by people serving in the military. A WHO program to give people of all income levels access to a COVID vaccine is receiving a boost. This program receiving 2 billion doses of the vaccine. It will bring vaccine access to 190 countries taking part in the program in the first half of next year. Well, today, the highest profile American so far to receive the new Pfizer COVID vaccine did. This is Vice President Mike Pence, but also his wife and the U.S. Surgeon General, all receiving shots at the White House in an effort to show that the vaccine is safe. Now, vaccinating our nation's heroes and the people who treat them is another huge undertaking. There are more than 418,000 VA workers and some 10 million patients who will eventually get the COVID-19 vaccine through the VA. The department got 73,000 doses this week of the Pfizer vaccine. Residents and staff at long-term living communities run by the department are first to be vaccinated. There are about 17,500 veterans living in those centers across the country. Also getting the vaccine are VA employees who treat coronavirus patients.
I know that a lot of VA medical centers are going through COVID surges right now, alongside with their communities.
Most vaccines are often mandatory for the military. For now, COVID is still voluntary. That's likely due to limited supply and because it's only under emergency use for now. Still, veteran doctors want to reassure their patients.
I got the vaccine yesterday, and I had a sore arm yesterday, but my arm feels good today. I feel fine today. I would recommend this vaccine to my family and also to my patients when it's available for them and it's their turn.
More than 5,500 veteran patients have died, as well as at least 87 VA staff members as a result of COVID. That doesn't include state-run veterans' homes. Now, according to the plan, the VA is not responsible for providing vaccines for them. All right, next in our lineup, getting the Pfizer vaccine ready is frankly like something out of Mission Impossible. We are getting an inside look at what it takes to prepare this shot. Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine requires a complex and precise procedure for it to work. One hospital agreed to show our Usher Qureshi step by step.
Before the needle even breaks the skin, strict protocol must be followed precisely.
We're going to take it from the -80 ultra-low storage. We're going to defrost it at refrigerator temperatures. That's going to give us 5 days of stability for the vaccine.
It's like something out of Mission Impossible.
We installed additional security cameras, and we have additional security protocols.
Erin Shaughnessy is the director of pharmacy at Rush University Medical Center in Chicago. She's charged with ensuring the vaccine is securely handled and properly prepped before it's injected.
We don't want to get close to that limit because we don't want to risk wasting any of the drug. This stuff is liquid gold right now.
That liquid gold must be stored at 80 below zero in a secure location only a few pharmacists have access to.
We have to take it out of the ultra-low freezer and move it to a refrigerator just to thaw for 3 hours.
Once thawed, it cannot be restored.
You can't put the medication back into the freezer. You have to use it or you're going to lose it. So once it's done thawing, it's going to have a 5-day refrigerated expiration.
Pfizer's vaccine protocol also requires the vaccine be protected from UV light, and the dilution must be gently inverted exactly 10 times. Shaken too hard, and it could go bad.
It's very specific. It's very, very specific.
That's when the clock starts ticking.
Once they're thawed and reconstituted, basically diluted down to make the actual doses, then that's when we have 6 hours on the clock going from that dilution point into someone's arm.
Each dose is recorded and logged. It's a symphony of procedures that must come together like clockwork.
It's a lift for a lot of hospitals, a lot of organizations, but I think it's a challenge that everybody is ready to rise to because everyone is so excited about getting this vaccine process started.
A once-in-a-lifetime pharmaceutical mission with nothing left to chance. Reporting from Chicago, I'm Usher Qureshi.
Wow, Usher, thank you. Now, ahead in our lineup, more teachers feeling the stress of the pandemic and now thinking about calling it quits with public schools. We're taking a look at the jobs that they're considering instead. We start this news feed with some new details we are getting in on this widespread suspected Russian cyber attack. Microsoft says 40 of its customers, including government agencies, think tanks, and other companies were impacted by it, and the majority of customers are in the U.S. An alert from the Department of Homeland Security says this attack poses a grave risk to government networks and the private sector. More than 1 million Georgians have voted so far in the Senate runoff elections. This after 4 days of in-person early voting and about 4 weeks of mail-in voting. Voting will end on January 5th. The results of the 2 races determine which party will control the Senate. Addiction is a battle that has been hard for so many to fight this year. There were more than 81,000 overdose deaths in the 12 months between May of last year and May of this year. CDC says that is the highest number of overdose deaths ever recorded in a 12-month period. Researchers point to the changes in daily life as a reason for the spike. Vaccines are coming at a critical point in the pandemic. We're nearly at 2 weeks straight of record high hospitalizations. There have been more than 17 million virus cases. December has now become the second deadliest month of this pandemic. All things that medical experts worry we could be becoming desensitized to.
You hear the same thing. It's the boy who cried wolf kind of thing.
Dr. Michael Lewis recognizes the severity of the virus, but is worried more about the broader implications. He says those include damage to children from virtual school and not seeing friends and family. Also damage to businesses and employees from lockdowns, and damage to people's physical health because of a drop in routine medical care. Dr. Lewis says that the amount of new prescriptions for things like heart disease and diabetes have dropped, and we're already seeing more new cases of advanced cancers.
They make things worse. They make actual death rates go up in the long term, the 2 to 5 year kind of thing.
Dr. Lewis is advocating for people to reevaluate their physical and mental health as the pandemic drags on.
We've got to figure out how to break that cycle of stress. And that's a very personal thing. You've got to figure out how to take responsibility for it yourself.
He wants people to focus on a healthy lifestyle, eat right, exercise, limit your daily intake of information related to the virus. And he says live cautiously, but don't live in fear. And don't forgo medical or psychological attention. That is because stress hurts the immune system, which of course is the very thing that we need to be healthy to protect us from viruses and other diseases.
Well, a lot of central Indiana businesses are struggling to make ends meet as the pandemic continues. But WRTV's Kelsey Anderson shows how one business that was deemed essential remained open and thrived, and now it can't keep up with the supply and demand.
Here at Always in Stitches in Noblesville and at stitching stores across the country, business has been booming as people started making those masks and getting back to their crafting roots.
Well, we had to become very adaptable.
Kathy Saxton is the store manager at Always in Stitches.
Dinosaurs didn't adapt and they aren't here anymore.
They were able to stay open when the shutdown went into place because they are considered an essential business.
The stitchers out there needed supplies, they needed materials. And we started out providing fabric for masks. We did that with one of the local nursing home companies.
She says they provided enough fabric to make more than 6,000 masks.
It's been overwhelming for us. It's been overwhelming for the industry. What happened was all the supplies, supply and demand, you have all this fabric and all this stuff going out, and then now there's nothing left to sell. So we're having a little supply and demand issue, almost like the toilet paper thing, not quite that bad.
She tells me besides mask making, a lot of folks returned to sewing and crafting during the pandemic because of the peacefulness and tranquility it brings.
You stab something 1,000 times, you feel a lot better.
Not only will stabbing something over and over again make you feel better, Saxton says crafting is a good brain exercise.
You use both parts of your brain. You use the creative part, you have to use the design part. And so when you're making a quilt or when you're doing cross stitch or you're knitting something, that uses the entire brain in a way that makes it very healthy for you.
So if you're someone who wants to get into crafting or know a crafter, this right here makes a good Christmas gift. It's a panel with instructions and all of these masks you can make quick and easy. Working for you, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
Who knew quilting could be such a stress reliever out there? Just stabbing it about 1,000 times. All right, well, as we look at the forecast this weekend, you get out there and temperature is really not going to be too bad here for the middle to latter part of December. We're at 40 on Saturday, 41 Sunday. But yeah, we've got some rain showers we're going to be dealing with. They should be fairly light. You notice on TrueCast here, mid-morning, some light rain showers will be moving through. I think the temperatures are going to be warm enough, though, that we will be dealing with rain, maybe a sleet pelleter here or two that mix in. As we get to around 9 o'clock tomorrow evening, things are fairly quiet as those showers pass off to the south and east. Temperatures will make their way close to 40 for that afternoon high tomorrow. May mix in again a couple of those snowflakes or sleet pellets around Muncie with a high temperature of 39, but 38 for you in the Fishers area. Sunday, we will dry things out, and I think as we go later in the afternoon and evening hours, we will start to see a little decrease in that cloud cover as temperatures make their way to around 40 degrees. So overall, we're fairly mild here the next several days, but there is going to be a big shot of cold. Looks like instead of a lump of coal, it's going to be a lump of cold that Santa brings us here Thursday and Friday. These are high temperatures that are only going to be in the middle 20s for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. The good news is ahead of that comes a little bit of snow, so we'll actually give you about a 30% chance that we'll have some snow on the ground for Christmas Day. 7-day planning forecast, we're in the 40s though through the middle of the week, then much colder. Chris?
Topping the newsfeed, Johnson & Johnson wants to make a single-dose COVID vaccine a reality, so the company using 45,000 people in its first late-stage trial. If this study is successful, J&J hopes to ask for emergency use authorization from the government in February. The justices of the Supreme Court will be vaccinated. Vaccine doses will also go to members of Congress and the executive branch in an effort to keep government moving as we continue through the pandemic. Uber wants to help people get their dose of a vaccine. The company says that it is giving free and discounted rides if people are heading to a COVID vaccination. Uber offering 10 million free and discounted rides, so transportation is not a barrier to receiving the vaccine. Well, there's a new warning about dietary supplements that people are buying online. The FDA has found that nearly 50 supplements sold on Amazon and eBay contain hidden drugs, including prescription medications. The drugs were not found on the nutrition label and could pose a serious health risk. Drugs were found in weight loss and sexual enhancement supplements, and the FDA advises that people search for production information from sources other than just the seller. Well, we have talked about how a lack of substitute teachers is causing headaches as schools try to navigate the pandemic. Now there's a possible new problem. More than 1 in 4 teachers consider leaving the traditional classroom. This is according to a new report. And Alicia Nieves shows us why educators aren't happy and what it might take to make sure that they don't leave schools.
Teachers across the U.S. have had to educate in completely new and challenging ways this year.
Right now, they are being asked to do the unimaginable and the impossible, whether that is teaching in person during a pandemic or trying to navigate teaching at home.
Shea Martin is a former educator who left teaching before the pandemic because the demands and pressures placed on teachers then. Martin simply couldn't imagine teaching now, but recently created the Anonymous Teachers Speak project to give former colleagues an online platform to freely speak about what they are going through.
A lot of teachers work in districts and work in spaces where they're under contract and cannot share or publicly talk about what's happening with them.
With anonymity, more than 1,000 teachers have posted to the project.
I have seen and read some of the most heartbreaking stuff I've ever seen in my life.
Many writing about safety concerns while teaching, being overworked and overworried about their students. Some even writing about coming to terms with leaving the profession.
Teachers are crying out for help, and the profession and the districts and the schools and the structures are ignoring them. I think we're going to lose a whole generation of teachers.
According to a report recently released by Horace Mann, a company focused on investing in insurance for educators, 1 in 4 teachers is currently considering quitting.
The fact that a quarter of teachers are considering leaving and the fact that there's already a shortage in the profession just really makes that even more so magnified.
Tyson Sanders is with Horace Mann.
3 out of 4 teachers are not living comfortably. So I think if there's an opportunity where they can continue to be involved in a profession that they're so passionate about and continue to help students, I think that's something that they would certainly explore.
That seems to be exactly what is happening, especially with teachers overwhelmed in the public school space. More are starting to turn to online teaching opportunities with some private schools or companies. Their schedules are more flexible and pay tends to be higher.
It is sad because I wish that, our governments and our systems could figure out a way to adequately compensate and appreciate and take care of students and teachers the way that they should be.
1 in 4 teachers haven't left yet, so maybe there's still a way. I'm Alicia Nieves reporting.
Alicia, thank you. Now, we have one last check of our lineup today. There are new concerns about a measles outbreak among kids. The numbers researchers are watching that have them worried, and why they say it's not too late to reverse them. As we deal with this pandemic, doctors have another health concern on their mind. It's a measles outbreak, particularly among children. Doctors at Nationwide Children's Hospital noticed there was a persistent decline in the number of families coming in for checkups and vaccinations. While there's a variety of vaccines that children should get, doctors are particularly worried about the measles shot.
Not enough kids get a certain vaccine, measles being one of those vaccinations, you can lose herd immunity. So that puts us all at risk of having an outbreak of that illness when we get back together again.
According to the World Health Organization, at least 93% of the population needs to get the measles vaccine to achieve herd immunity. Researchers found that vaccine rates were dropping as low as 70% in some places in Ohio, which raised the concern for a measles outbreak. Now, typically, kids follow a type of vaccine schedule throughout their childhood, but many have put off vaccines during the pandemic. Doctors, though, they say it is not too late to get those shots.
If you're delayed in getting the measles vaccine, that's okay. Just still come in and get it because it will protect you from the day you start to get it. So really the only consequence would be that period of time that you are unprotected.
Now, if you're uncomfortable about stepping into a doctor's office, know that there are efforts in place to make this space a safe one for everybody. Now, there are also other options. Many communities have pop-up or mobile vaccination clinics as alternative places for children to catch up on their vaccines. Well, how about the future of farming no longer being out in a field like this, but instead being done inside? Yeah, on Monday, we will take you to one of the first indoor farms in the country and show you why farmers say that this method has a big benefit for the planet.
We've got occasional chances for some rain showers here over the next few days, but temperatures not bad with those highs in the 40s. Then things really change here as we get into Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Highs are only going to be in the 20s, and it looks like Wednesday night into Thursday, some snow showers across central Indiana as we start off in the teens Christmas morning. Thanks for joining us here at 5:30. The news at 6 starts now.